don't know if M80 had dinner plans or something else they'd rather be doing on this Friday night. 13-1 victory over Winthrop to kick things off.
At the Gladiatorial Arena. They bring it to you. You just get your mobile phone out and it comes to you. It's incredible, Sierra. They don't have to leave. They're staying right here.
Well, apparently they have somewhere to be, because that was the fastest match we've seen in Challengers so far, Gomps. That was Winthrop's map pick. We haven't seen M80 on Sunset yet, and I think that's for everyone else's good, because they looked pretty freaking good.
They didn't only look pretty freaking good, they played pretty freaking good. This team like actually just dominated. M80 honestly had more power than I think they should have. Like Nitro, for example, honestly, I'll probably talk about him because he's right here. The Cypher had way too much impact on a site that they were just left alone at majority of the time. And it's things like that that make M80 feel comfortable to continue doing that. But we didn't really see Winthrop take in that repetition, take in that information, and try to abuse it. It kind of was just, you know, run onto site, this is the strat we're going to do, and not information gaining. So unfortunately, yeah, it kind of did just lead M80 to dominating with plays like this.
I mean, you saw that, like, there's I think that elbow play. Sorry, they sent like a bomb, so a boom bot in there, and then you see like one breach sort of run in and jump and try and sort of win the 1v1. Like, there's plenty of util there, but there's no one else from Winthrop sort of pushing in here. So I think like it's things as straightforward as like how they clear these sort of unknown parts of the map for Winthrop that, you know, they seem to really struggle with. And this stat is really telling, all right? Don't worry about M80's sort of post-plant stats. That's not important. But Winthrop, only the one round comes from like when they're able to get the spike down. But in so many rounds, they just don't get onto the site. They just don't get in a position to put the spike down because M80 aren't playing retake. And Winthrop aren't able to cleanly clear these sites and set themselves up for that post-plant scenario whatsoever. They're getting picked off very, very early. They're not able to work, I think, in concert with one another to take control of these parts of the map. Like the one round that I liked from them, they took mid and they pinched into market, I think, with some sort of B main pressure, and that looked really good. But they looked like they really struggled to figure out where the gamble was for M80, and even like trying to play into just a solo Cypher side at B sometimes. They were really uncomfortable. There was like a rolling thunder sent towards market because they couldn't take market through mid. They'd chosen to sort of all come out B main. And Nitro still gets 2 kills. He doesn't even get hit by the rolling thunder. And there were 2 players standing top mid for M80 that just rotated instantly to Boba, and they sort of cleaned them up here. So there's a lot to work on here for Winthrop. But I think a lot of teams in this group are going to look bad against this M80 squad because they don't give you anything for free. They don't give you free kills, and they definitely don't give you free info. You've got to figure it out yourself, and you've got to spend your utility, take map control to get it. And sometimes, again, with like single controller, that can be harder to do safely.
Yeah, even looking at this M80 squad, I mean, this was a team last year before changes that looked ready for VCT Americas. I mean, this is like one of the top teams, if not the top team. So that's a really good point that you're talking about, like, when you're going up against M80, there is going to be times where you do kind of look a little silly, or where you are going to be looking outmatched, because at some points, I mean, is simply put, you just are. So I do want to see, hopefully, in our next map, a little bit more coming out from Winthrop. I think it's just tough, even when they're making that push, Gomps. I mean, M80, they're able to get 2 before someone dies. And if you're just trying to trade in numbers like that, not consistent trades, it's always going to be M80 favored.
No, it is. And yeah, you're completely right. It's the first engagements that I feel like M80 really did thrive in the first place. And it didn't feel like anyone in particular really did shine above the rest. It felt like whoever was on site at that point in time did a great job at holding site, or even then just pushing up. I know we had like, it was pretty repetitive in my opinion what M80 were really trying to push through with, but at the same time there were occasions where I did see like the strategies actually occurring. Obviously with Nismo, I believe we did see them kind of, they knew that there was heavy information coming down towards mid, they knew there was a heavy push moving back towards spawn, so then they just got a free lurk out of it. And it's stuff like that, it's the negligence that was put through from Winthrop that really does need to change when it comes down to Lotus.
We highlighted Infiltrator as a player that even in a lot of losing maps had a positive first kill, first death ratio. Like that was the thing that we felt Winthrop could really lean on. He's 2-7 first kill, first death for this map. I mean, the whole team of Winthrop are 2-12 first kill, first death. That's where things are going wrong. They are getting slaughtered before they can even have a chance to get the plant down. And it's got a lot to do with like how you clear these contested areas, right? Like how you take space. Like their sorry, their protocol for taking elbow was either send 1 player or 4. And neither are actually working particularly well when Nismo gets 2 kills even in a 1v4 situation. So yeah, I mean, I agree with Compass. Like that obviously needs to get cleaned up a lot, and that's something that gets exposed against a team that's really tight and disciplined.
Yeah, there's, I think, a couple of things that we can dive into, but first, gotta reset the series, just deep breath in and start looking at the next map, Lotus, especially if you are a Winthrop player or a Winthrop fan, about how potentially there could be a little bit more coming out on our next map of choice. And I do think it's going to be hard, because looking at M80, this is definitely a strong map for them Gompers. And I think if we don't see some change around in Winthrop, I mean, even just like some of the utility to maybe clear out these lurking M80 players when they're pushing onto site, something's got to give.
I think, honestly, a lot of it is just pick. You know M80's play style now. You know what they're capable of. You know what they like to do. You know what they like to look for. Information. They don't like feeling like they don't have the correct info to really execute on plans. And I feel like that is such a big advantage, especially on a map like Lotus. You can stay back a bit. You can take your time with this map, because they also do like to lurk, and you can try to force those out. I just want to see a lot more coming through from Winthrop, whether it be really just baiting out the util right down in mid, or just baiting out some sort of push to take the 1v1s. There have been no isolations when it comes down to the attack, and that's what you need to look for. Unfortunately for Winthrop, it was just pushing as a team and then get funneled in, and we saw a lot of 2Ks out of that, which was super unfortunate.
Yeah, it's the kind of map really quickly where, we sort of see BCJ switch over towards the fade and do a great job at really clearing these wide open areas, and Nitro will just chill and be on defense behind that util, maybe grab a judge. Nothing too special there. So it's really the extremities that are going to get a lot of the action on this particular map here. And again, like, Winthrop need to show us what they've got. We've seen them play really well on this map against SAD. That was a very good map. Infiltrator popped off, and they had some unbelievable post-plant scenarios where, like, individuals had a chance to shine. But I don't want to hear about individuals. I want to hear about them working, cohesively with each other. Their clearing protocols have got to be spot on.
Especially, too, if already looking at the series and already looking at this first map, if we're kind of chalking this up to be an M80 win, regardless of how you think about it going into the series, I want to see more just from Winthrop in terms of that team play. I want to, they made it to this point. They've made it into Challengers. They did it as a team. So I want to see a little bit more of that team play coming out here, Gomps, that even if we're not expecting a win, I want something to be excited about here from this team, more so going into next week. Like, hey, this is the fight that they put up against M80. It's time for Agent Select. I'm hoping we see that fight, but we'll see.
Yeah, again, that remains to be seen. Agent Select is going to be quite illuminating for us, I'm sure, but there's nothing truly out of the ordinary here. Both teams, of course, with the Raze fade setups very quickly starting to become the standard here.
Yeah.
Winthrop University, crucially, will be starting on defense. So here's an opportunity, I think, to see some of those Xander lurks, and BCJ again open up the map a lot with this util.
Yeah, pretty much a mirror composition. So I can't say that there is a disadvantage in the composition, or I guess the way that it's being played. It really is just about the comfort, the way that you play these agents on a map like Lotus. I'm interested that nobody has any interest in the Cypher, but I guess the Killjoy kind of taking its toll here on a map like this one, looking for a more solid hold, and not only that, damage on the way. So I do like this. I think for Winthrop, they always like to go for the extra damage. They always like to go for a pretty heavy push. So this composition does not surprise me at all on their side.
Yeah, no way. I think we're going to see obviously the Killjoy preferred here, because the lockdown is very, very good. You throw it down in tree on the attacking side, and it's also easy to get good coverage over on C. Last time we saw Infiltrator on this map, I think it was against Turtle Troop, and he was 7-1, first kill, first death. Again, I bring it up because it was something that was conspicuously absent in that last map. Hopefully a change of pace and a more comfortable environment here for Winthrop on a map that is far from their worst will pay off. Of course, we'll see the standard lurk wall here thrown out towards A.
Yeah, but Moves is ready for it. Actually not using any util to try to push themselves out, but then you have it coming right back to you. So Winthrop University already having a player disadvantage off the get-go.
Yeah, I think they were, I'm not really sure. I mean, they were trying to play off Moves, maybe like a fade race set up there with the C's and paint shells, but Nitro here, clearing some of this Killjoy utility. That lurk wall has allowed M80 to get right up here on the A side, especially with that heavy commitment on B for Winthrop. They had 3 players trying to make their way out of B. So a comfortable plant here. There will be a flank, though. Infiltrator is on the hunt. Kuala Lumpur aware of it here. That smoke will fade. And again, this is M80 for you. They're just not going to give you that for free. They're not going to take a challenge, an ego peak. They're going to back up onto the site. Until now.
Yeah, lots of respect already given up, though. Infiltrator seems like they don't need any. Wide swing in the angle to try to find one of their own, but then again, it's M80 still having so many players surrounding the site. Now again, just looking for something more. A right click to their name, quite possibly, but it's a spam from BCJ that allows them that first round.
I don't mind this, right? Winthrop tried to go for something from B. It can obviously, if you don't see anything, it can turn into a pretty decent backstab opportunity as M80 scaled up, you know, relatively slowly towards that A main. But it doesn't work, and that was kind of their ace in the sleeve. They gave up A for that, and M80 just looked very good in the post plant. I mean, come on, Nismo's in A heaven at some point in the round there, so it's very, very hard to retake that.
I will find
oh my goodness. Everybody's just surrounding themselves down in C. And I can see the vision. They like to push as a team, typically on the anti-eco round, so it might just be the plan that they're heading for a retake, quite possibly as well, down towards the A site as that space is being taken up by M80.
Poison over here to stairs. M80 with 0 resistances. You're going to be able to plant here over towards A. So how do you make a retake happen with this level of util for Winthrop? They get a long walk over to where the action is actually going to be.
Push onto site, pretty good. I mean, again, all they really have to worry about is what's going on in the extremities, but that's up to Nitro to try to find some shots for it. The first one already sought out, and everybody else looking for some sort of redemption there.
Okay. Well, Nanoswarm here is going to make it impossible to advance past that point, so they can't flood Kuala Lumpur holding the angle. They'll be forced off of it just by missing, but Nitro is always going to be there. And now you're smoked out. There's also a snake bite on the ground. And now Winthrop have to find a way through the choke here to have any chance of interacting. They really want to try and get a gun. At least one here, but Prowler going to be a costing jerk. And as that smoke clears, so is the space between Jerk's ears as it's blown apart.
Yeah, some of these players not even putting too heavy of an investment into that last round either. Nitro still having 6,000 credits to utilize, just keeping the sheriff. And quite honestly, might be the best financial decision if they just want to go for that straight through, you know, hero rifle available for the taking. But yeah, it was a pretty flawless round in terms of what M80 had to show for it. Yeah, now 2 Vandals on the board as well, especially because of the economy that was placed down for them.
Make them dance.
And again, the plan is mostly the same, right? M80 just want to stack 4 players over towards A, see what they can get, leave a loose end in Nitro again to watch the flank. This is exactly how that previous round played out. Smoke stairs and start to make their way here up.
Yeah, smoke creating coverage, that makes it harder. But Xander's just looking for some sort of rotation. Unfortunately for Xander, M80 just... I mean, my apologies, Winthrop just not really feeding into that attention. Yep, and now finding one down behind. So you lose the Viper util, regardless, already placed down as well. So not going to be too much of an issue.
And he pulled a lot of players over towards the A side, right? Just the killjoy here at C. Xander did his job. Opened a door, rattled the cage bars a little bit, riled up the villagers. Nismo here creates a bit of space behind that paint shell, and that is a very comfortable kill. Here comes the Prowler here. Nismo faces that down. His moves actually gets ahead of the smoke. I like these variations here, but M80 do have things in place to prevent that kind of aggression. So the Nanoswarm thrown down, that claims a kill. And now, of course, you can play for that post plant. Back to Mound with Hugh.
All starting off with just a hero rifle to use, and honestly struggling now to try to keep things intact, especially with the wall now set up, but still finding the shots. M80 might just be there to take another one in as well. I mean, it was a close one. Infiltrator really peeking that one through, but unfortunately, yeah, time of the essence. M80 fiending for that pressure.
Bear in mind, quite a few of those M80 players were on bonus. I mean, Nitro bought a rifle, but he just sat on the sheriff for that second round here, so the economy is looking very, very good. I don't know if you mind going down there as Xander. Now, you really kept Winthrop interested in that A side of the map.
One enemy remaining.
Yeah, all they have to do is just continue with the way that they have been. Economy is rich. They are pretty much guaranteed another round to that 4-0. A huge possibility, unless Winthrop University have anything to say about it. I know Infiltrator definitely keeping that finger close at hand, looking for close contact fights.
Look at this from Xander, right? Just allows there to be a cross. You just hide information away from anyone who might have pushed ahead of the Viper wall. and then just refresh the orb over towards stairs. And you've taken all his control virtually for free. I like that from Gucci. I think that was a play out of Hobbit. No, actually from the A site there. So I'm not really sure what gave him that indication, but Xander was waiting for the push up when Winthrop start overcooked just a little bit here after finding an early advantage.
Yeah, Decay not going to do too much damage, but then again, Paranoia set out. They don't know where anybody is. They're still going to try to fight this out. Then again, M80 still in such a good position. Spray throughs coming down the defense, knowing that the B site might be the place to plant the spike. But now the biggest issue is trying to get that retake in. Kuala Noob in an interesting spot.
I wanted him to tuck that corner so bad. No one ever seems to check it. Instead, though, holding an off angle by the doorway. Gucci dispatched comfortably. Here's that C-Link presence. Kuala Noob from inside the smoke now will re-smoke upper. There'll be a timing to swing this, and it's perfect. Boots is able to find one, though, here, so a little bit of a messy round for M80. And that's what happens when you choose to play on that B site. And they got what they came for.
Yeah, it's good. Honestly, wasn't expecting that. It was a huge takeaway from Winthrop. And it kind of does show them as well. Okay, we're capable with classics, with sheriffs, with stingers. How capable can we be with Vandals? And I think that's the takeaway that they need for this round. Because again, we saw a lot of that worry. We saw a lot of that lack of confidence in the last map that I think really needs to be redirected into this game. Showing and proving that they can do what they're capable of. Of course, M80, though, still taking in that 4-0. So quite a bit of a struggle here.
Infiltrator gets ahead of both of these forms of Viper utility here. Great way to take space, and it's actually forced M80 off playing that part of the map. Nice early kill here from Mound. Kuala Noob spotted. Prowler will be cut short now, but eventually Jerk goes for a little bit too much. Gucci, okay, they really need to keep their Viper up. That could be a problem. There are rotates coming in, at least from Waterfall here. Xander, though. Again, this is the kind of team that will run through their own mollies. Try and catch you off. Very happy-esque. Oh, dear. And this is how Winthrop get info. They push smokes. They've had to do that the last couple of rounds because they've had so much denied from them, and it gets them killed more often than not.
Yeah, surprised it didn't work that time, but I think they are slowly trying to find themselves again. Never in a million years would I have expected that sort of gameplay coming through from Sunset because they tend to get punished. They were actually pretty passive. So now, obviously, they're getting tired of constantly being afraid, and I feel like they are slowly starting to come out. It was a great play, honestly, moving out towards A. Being able to take some of those picks through and finding that information, like you said. So taking that into account, the B site, so many players here and so much potential to try to fight this mid.
They're going to try this again. Work their way out from B, I think. But again, you have a turret here that you can play off the contact of. If you're Kuala Noob, this angle might end up being a little bit awkward in that event. What's the timing going to be here for Winthrop? They've also pulled Nitro back here in towards spawn. They've read this pretty well, have M80.
Just waiting. M80 patient, as they have been time and time again, but Winthrop University not looking to crack. Maybe actually so. Infiltrator very, very aggressive with a peek coming through from B, so that's going to give away that duelist.
No, there's no need for M80 to rush that. They just hold angles because they have all that A control.
Yeah.
They get up there with the standard Viper lurk play. There's nothing the defenders can do. Nasty finds a timing here to push through the smoke, but eventually gets caught out. A trade at best. BCJ with a comfortable plant set up here, and the one loose element might be Jerk. Kuala Noob gets caught by the Nightfall. Can Jerk make something happen here through door? He's spotted out, and BCJ, oh my goodness, that was a headshot off the classic, and that's going to set things up for Xander, excuse me. Just Jerk now. Trying to wedge between these M80 players, but you don't really have the weaponry to make a real go of it.
No, but they could take away from this. And haven't even placed the alarm bot to see if anybody's flanking around down towards the back. Yeah, Nitro's going to take advantage of that pretty nicely. Yeah. So then, yeah, leading over to that 6-0 from M80. Not surprised. We saw the gameplay from the map before, but I do see a little bit more of a fight. Despite it being that 6-0 and Winthrop not on the board yet, we have seen a more difficult time for M80 to really take in these rounds.
Good chance to have a chat here because we do have a showstopper and a lockdown available. Again, I don't think Winthrop are going to try that again. That sort of multi-stack out of B main here. You can always play off the turret's contact so easily, and for whatever reason, M80 were very much ready for it. we've seen rounds from Winthrop where like they sort of try and overload Mound, find a couple of kills there.
Yeah.
It was just unfortunate that, you know, Gucci got caught trying to back away to the site. You're probably happy with the 1-for-1 in that info. And the double satchel play from Infiltrator towards A-Long to deny that space. So there are a couple of things that are working for Winthrop. They tend to get unraveled again. We often see players walking smokes here, getting a little bit nervous about just having the map obscured for them for any length of time.
Hopefully this is, I mean, a good way for them to really take into account. You can see their faces. It's frustrating. It genuinely is. And they understand. They have a huge understanding as to what they're doing wrong. It really is just trying to implement that to move forward. 4 ultimates left on the board from Winthrop as well. So when you're also looking at that, there's got to be a huge advantage in this round. Hopefully not utilizing all of them all in one, because they do tend to kind of bulk up the usage of the ultimates and give away to that. So Winthrop's definitely looking for something outside of A. The paranoia just thrown away. Absolutely no push to create any sort of impact off that.
It does slow down this sort of foray into A by Xander. You can see he's actually not really confident in moving up at all. He was actually expecting a push off of that. So even though there wasn't a push, right, there's still the threat of it. And that buys like 40 seconds where M80 cannot scale into that A side of the map, even with just a lurking player. So sometimes the little things can end up making a difference here. That allows you to stack 3 players towards C. Jerk receives contact. Here comes the showstopper. Nismo will get one, but gets caught midway through. A Pyrrhic victory for the M80 duelist. And the lockdown here is going to create a bit of breathing room. And Koala Noob will be able to get out just in time.
That's already a lockdown being placed. Wait for some sort of usage. It seems like it did the job. Yeah, definitely stalled them out. 36 seconds left, though. So the C side having to be in the place they push. Yep, knowing alarm bot is turned off as well. They know nobody's surrounding that area.
Winthrop are hedging, though, because they don't know about A. They just threw a smoke towards A on the off chance that Xander was, you know, pushing up towards stairs or through their spawn. So Winthrop aren't sure whether it's going to be a re-hit towards C. They hedge their bets and play from B, and they leave the site open. They got a player advantage to work with at the very least.
Oh, and this is beautiful. I thought they might have held that. That would have been good, but here comes the showstopper, set down by Infiltrator and still missing out. It doesn't matter. It's still left alone, though. Up to BCJ. 3 health left as well. Yeah, there's no way that they're going to be able to take away from this. Not even planned it for them, so it's a back off. And that's that first round that Winthrop University are able to walk away with.
Yeah, really nicely done. I mean, that's a good example of playing the map when you don't have the information. You don't have the ability to get the information. You group up together and you just sort of wait in a position where you can make a fast rotation. You know, it's crazy. That paranoia over towards A. No push behind it. Yet M80 would sort of just warded off that part of the map entirely. They didn't want to commit to it, and they ended up giving it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they backed off. In a way I wasn't expecting. The ego slowly kind of fading away for the side of M80, but Jerk with the Odin's going to be interesting here. Maybe a wall bang coming through down towards the A side, but so much util here. And then again, they do have that wall that is able to be set up to allow Jerk some sort of information.
He'll play off no fade rather to give him that info. Okay, that was scary. Koala Noob actually trying to TP across the nano swarm. M1 gets held down by Jerk, and here's Gucci now playing from inside that defender's Viper pit. M80 might already be committed to this, though. They don't have the opportunity to go elsewhere, and a much better round for Winthrop. They're starting to get a feel for the pace that M80 are bringing.
Okay, now everyone saw the potential for Winthrop, right? That was a flawless round. It was beautiful. And those are the rounds that I want to continue to see. And it's unfortunate that we don't, but I'm hoping that we get to. Again, Gucci pulling up the Viper Spit, definitely a huge addition to the round as well. But the op being pulled out from Koala Noob, which is an interesting choice. Oh, actually, I just got trolled. It's not interesting at all because it's not there anymore. So I lied to the audience.
I think they thought about it. Maybe because they're just expecting like a massive presence in A-Long for Winthrop. And maybe they think they can take space from behind their Viper wall and have a clean shot towards stairs. But that's a very short-lived idea. We'll see that Odin He's still inside tree. Turret, though, I think it might actually be inside Hobbit, so not much to play off here from Jerk outside of intuition.
Oh, not at the moment.
Ouch, that hurts.
Yeah, they still were able to secure some of that damage down, but it's so interesting because Winthrop's so scattered throughout the sites. Nobody is really holding anything. Despite this being a defense game, they're just lurking down. And honestly, quite possibly, this could be the best thing. They catch the spike in hand, and now putting M80 into a very uncomfortable position.
Good looks here for Winthrop. Getting a lot of information. Kuala Lumpur very quickly going to dive, though, into the Viper's Pit post plant over at B. There are paint shells available here, and 2 mollies still from Gucci, so you do have the utility to disrupt this somewhat, but Nismo's trying to play ahead of it. Okay, Boombot doesn't spot him. No one ever checks his corner, man! Okay, Infiltrator did at the very least there. Nismo's trigger discipline ends up working against him, and there's the paint shells getting involved. There's a lot to clear. This Viper's Pit width. Nitro goes down. Zeno and Kuala Lumpur, though, still standing.
Enemy remaining.
Kuala Lumpur, nice little swing there, but Infiltrator's going to find his third for the round, and it's up to Zeno now in a 1 versus 2. He hears, he sees, Jerk brought down, but he can't finish the job, and Infiltrator comes away with 4. Winthrop, all of a sudden, have made 3 rounds back-to-back.
Ah, shame.
I was worried there. For a second they wouldn't get it, but yeah, it's beautiful. And that really just goes to show how momentum takes a toll on the game. Winthrop going from a 13-1 loss and now coming back into this game, switching things up. Then we saw their stressed out faces and actually forcing M80 into a timeout. This is a completely different stance than honestly what I thought was going to happen this game. And it's great. We're finally seeing the capabilities of this team of Winthrop and why they deserve to be here. I mean, rightfully so.
Huge part of that round is that they push out of C, right, from Winthrop. So now at least, like, you know, they have some confidence in trying to take mound control. Off what utility? We didn't sort of see that at the start of the round, but it lets them wrap and bring BCJ down, who was down to 11 HP because of the Odin play from, inside tree. This is nice though for Infiltrator. Just, again, just that raw intuition that allows him to win out in a very tough scenario. It is a Viper's Pit post plant, but you have Paranoia, 2 Viper Mollies, you have paint shells, so you have the tools to do that. It's definitely M80 forced into a bit of a compromising position.
It's not like they've been doing... I just think the attack might be a bit more difficult than they expected as well. It's not a lot of impact that I'm seeing coming through from Nitro, other than the fact that maybe when the ultimate is loaded up, I mean, it could be for that purpose or the post plant, but the post plant not even being given the opportunity quite a lot, as Winthrop University like to take the space of the extremities and honestly give a lot of pressure towards M80, though already putting down that one way. It's up to Kuala Lumpur to decide whether or not they want to keep this hold.
Yeah, I think Kuala Lumpur picks up an op because he suspects there was a contact clear at C-Long that allowed the flank to happen at all. So he's posted up there, and he probably will stay for now. Bit of a classic Winthrop aggressive play here through B main. This time, though, looks good. BCJ forced off the angle there, and Infiltrator's going to be able to find him after the fact. They've come alive, this Winthrop team. Boobs here as well, going to buy some space with that C's. Forced back pretty heavily and a little low on health. An Infiltrator will be there to trade off if needed. Through tree go the attackers.
Continuing to shut this team down. Oh, and Nitro's left alone. So many players are just moving. And he doesn't know.
Pushed up so far. Look what this spike is.
Well, they don't even know.
If they can pull as many people over as they can. They are still going to go for a plant and leave Nitro embedded up there. But one way thrown down by Kuala Lumpur is pretty crucial. Still got fire players. No excuse not to be able to clear this with some efficacy.
Oh, this is a good hold. 2, Nitro still watching in the corner. And a beautiful one as well. Nitro Infiltrator trying to find themselves some sort of space to be created. But Winthrop University doing a pretty grand job at keeping their advantage there, especially with Jerk taking another. Yeah, and a huge clear from Winthrop University. They honestly have changed the way they play, and I'm seeing a lot more patience as well.
Yeah, look at how they grouped up there at the top of A heaven. Like, they made sure they had the util to play off, and they swung as a unit in dealing with Nitro on that high ground. Yeah, okay, it doesn't go well for Infiltrator. I think he's hoping for maybe some sort of showstopper-oriented play. But the good news is he didn't have a chance to pull it out. He didn't have a chance to go for it here. Again, a lot of damage from that nanoswarm. Eventually, he got a bit impatient, but Jerk gets a nice little backstab here is they just don't have M80 the bandwidth to watch the push from stairs.
No, but I'm wondering if M80 are going to do the same thing they did before with Xander trying to feed some sort of information towards A to beta rotation. Didn't work the last time. Then again, a default. I mean, it's still up to M80. And a fake TP to make these players think that they might just be up top.
Good paranoia. That's going to force Infiltrator into a bit of... What? Twildoom not able to complete the kill there. Infiltrator paranoid for a time. Now starting to feel himself. He's found his rhythm. Just a probe here, up B. And a little bit of damage. And that's enough for Nitro to say, okay, let's get out. They will have to contend with a lot of Killjoy util on this A push, though. Moves takes a hit. Glancing shot. Jerk now. Can explode from that tree position. The moves cleans the Xander right on up. The Odin is too strong in this part of the map. And Winthrop have it all covered now. This will be their 5th round in a row. And they're showing no signs of stopping. As any flawless here for round 11.
Last round in the half.
It's like the moment they gave Jerk that Odin, I've noticed that we've been seeing a complete change in the mentality of Winthrop. Sometimes when you get a silly gun, you start to do silly things. And obviously the worry just kind of leaves you. And I feel like that's kind of been the case for Winthrop. They have been dominating. The op shots coming through, that did come through from moves. Absolutely insane. Now we have 2 ultimates on the board to guarantee them another possible round. A 6-6 half. My biggest worry is M80. They're their strongest when they reach that defensive point. So, I mean, take in this round, but kind of leave yourself wondering and planning out for what you're going to do next. Xander, though, slowly walking themselves up with wall that they put down to give themselves room.
So now he's embedded here, but this is very standard for M80 so far. Have to find a way to play out from this position. Infiltrator now, of course, held on to that showstopper and finally lets it go at quite the opportune moment. With that defensive Viper wall coming up. Nightfall, BCJ managed to slink his way in a tree and hang a minute. He's come out with 3 kills. Not a lot of support in his imminent vicinity. And Nismo's making his way up, and the guy's got the Guardian. Forget about it. Pack it up, boys. Absolutely filthy. Now Jerk has to salvage. Still a great comeback from Winthrop here. They would have loved, though, a 6-round defensive half. It's all up to Jerk to try and make that happen.
Oh, they're in such a good position, too, because they could honestly just try to get the defuse. Nobody's watching. They've cleared that tree. They know sight is completely clear. The only issue is now, I mean, what fight is going to happen next? Who's going to push themselves up? Jerk, afraid and unsure. But regardless, not having the time to really take into the spike and the slow rotation over towards the back. And it's Nitro to clear. Taking in that 7-5, so 6-6. Not really there for Winthrop, but honestly, 5 rounds in a row that they were able to take in a complete difference than the game that we saw last time.
They're really solid. Obviously, a great comeback here. Things go a little bit wrong. I don't know if they sort of realized that BCJ is got all the way up in tree, but he has this really effective off angle here that takes down like the double player stack, I think, towards tree, or he finds one in sight. Either way, after the fact, you have like the post-plant utility from the Killjoy to give you all the info you need to make the informed decision about how you interrupt the spike defuse. But still, good looks from Winthrop. I think I think we're pretty happy with that. Infiltrator looking much more like himself now.
He's been having pretty good setups too. Just in general, Gucci's wall making way for them to feel comfortable.
Oh, I like this. This is so audacious.
Oh, no. I'm a bit worried. But Koala Noob, you know what? The confidence is there. You got to trust it.
I think Koala Noob has enough info now to know that there's like a large concentration of Winthrop players there. But I don't mind it. Like, you kind of get forced back by sheer weight of numbers, and then you sort of re-peek into your one way and take control. At least enough to give you a decent read on what the defenders are up to. BCJ as well. Prowler out. Here come Winthrop en masse.
Oh, and the nades just... Nismo's waiting for the perfect moment to do this, and the Tether actually catching a couple players in. The whole purpose of this util combination, but it's Nitro waiting with a right click in hand to possibly catch these players out. Might just be good. And again, finding a couple. But unfortunately not able to run away with more than that. The player advantage still theirs for the side of M80. And they're just looking for the win. The pistol rounds looking amazing so far. And not actually losing out on one just yet, but it's Jerk making their way. See if they can find, honestly, a bit of investment of their own.
Still think, you know, Infiltrator deserves a knighthood for again being the player to check that corner that Nitro's tucked in.
Yeah.
The second time that's happened, and the second time he's been able to at least turn that difficult transition into a trade. Big fan of that. Jerk is shooting in the dark, literally, here. Finding
Nice.
2 kills, fair enough. But again, M80 are there in numbers as they always seem to be.
Yeah, again, defense is M80's strong suit, I would say, too. They played pretty passive on attack, which was interesting. Not necessarily too interesting, as they don't really like to
Swarm grenade.
just full send it down onto site. They like to have a plan behind it, which I think is the reason why, you know, their defense is going to look really good. Winthrop and the counters they're going to have to play through with that. Honestly, it's just relying on how much util they're willing to expend. And now the B site looking semi-cleared as there's so much killjoy util surrounding that, especially with a possible rotation leading up towards maybe C to B. But regardless of that, you still have so many players pushing themselves onto site. M80 with the weapon advantage, so they are able to take things back.
Love that from Infiltrator, though. This is what we were looking for. Koala, though, a little clean with it. I'm not going to lie. That was a round where they had Nitro over at the C site, but much of his util was set up on B. What can you do from here, Infiltrator? 100 HP. And a Bulldog. Okay. I'm now interested. The spike, though, is unfortunately not within arm's reach. Infiltrator will have to cross the B side again, and that's a lot to ask for.
You're going to scatter from my stuff. Super easy.
And this is where the round really does count, though some players taken out, so Winthrop kind of diminishing the economy of this team quite a bit. Still, though, bonus round and Vandals are on board, so they do like to have that hero rifle moment where, you know, they have the possibility of winning that third round. And if anything, I would want to. The capabilities that Winthrop have been showing recently are pretty dramatic, and if I was M80, I would want to have that reassurance leading into the next round, especially with the constant surprises that Winthrop tend to do. But yeah, the C site, definitely the place to go, especially with this one-way already set down.
He's the M80 bonus. The turret set up in the smoke is cheeky. It obviously kind of defeats the push-up behind the one-way. It'll get cleared out, though. Nasty. How about that one? Koala Noob not ready for the explosion out from door. Now we'll see the Killjoy Viper set up for M80 here. On this C side, so far, so good. Infiltrator caring a little bit too much about Waterfall for his own good as Nitro's going to be there. Jerk again, another double kill. Some key contributions. It's up to your boy BCJ to make it happen for the defenders.
Taking too many 1v1s. They kind of just fed it over to Winthrop. The aim, though, super nice off the side of BCJ. They didn't even allow the information to pull through. Regardless, finding Gucci in an uncomfortable position. Zippo clutch coming through for the side of M80.
Just that little bit of sound made there. I think he throws out the Lear, and that doesn't give away immediately the position of the Viper player, but just a footstep. I think was all that you needed there. You had all the info. Beautiful stuff from BCJ. Here's where it sort of goes down. Yeah, he knows where Gucci was sat on that corner. 9 HP clutch. That's pretty brilliant. And that's the bonus for M80. Let's not forget that. They are chilling.
They are mine.
Yeah, there's no worry. Honestly, if I'm M80, I'm feeling pretty comfortable, especially with a 10-5 difference. Leading down here, but a fight starting to erupt down in mid. And some patience there. They actually back themselves off, not looking for this, knowing that there is going to be a Viper's wall there.
He's going back and away pretty quickly. Thought about the boom bot, create some spacing, but his legs are more than enough to get him back to safety. The Hobbit has been claimed here by Winthrop. Smoke now towards Upper. That's a long paranoia to try and open it up for Nismo, but I don't really think the satchel went the way he wanted it to, and the paint shells were great insurance by Infiltrator.
Yeah, at least some time now for M80 to give into a rotation, but it's Gucci watching the flank, making sure that nobody's trying to take advantage of that space down in the flank, something we were missing out on in that last map, which I like. They finally made the adaptations needed. Now it's up to M80 with their player disadvantage to bring things back, though Winthrop definitely not going to allow the abuse to continue, although a save kind of leading back towards the side of M80.
Yeah, M80, of course. A couple of expensive rounds in the lead up to this one. Last time, the only other time we saw them on this map, they were 9-3 on defense. So you're definitely right in saying that they're probably a little more comfortable here. Moobs is on the hunt, of course. Rather expendable piece on the chessboard with just the sheriff in hand. Zeno will be waiting to be accosted here. Crosshair placement broken, no worries. Only Jerk and Infiltrator keeping guns from that round.
Pretty good win percentage on the side of M80, but it seems like Winthrop definitely stepping it up. I mean, now with Jerk especially, so many ultimates, and honestly, all they can do is farm this. They could very much so get that showstopper, push themselves onto the C site, and clear everything. Regardless, M80, I mean, not really having that gun advantage, they are the only one able to afford. Actually looking to afford as well, maybe picking off a fight down in A, but tons of information given away off the start.
The counter one way just gives all of that mound space here to the attackers. They'll clear the box, make sure no uninvited guests decide to make an appearance. Just a hero rifle for Xander here. Probably not a huge opportunity to make use of it now, as Gucci doesn't want to overextend on that A side of the map. We might see a bounce to another extremity here, or even to B. The Winthrop have divined that a number of players have dug in at C.
It's almost as if they knew. I mean, tons of util kind of not allowing Winthrop to take advantage of that choke point, but this is so unfortunate. Actually finding them just a little bit later on. M80, they cannot seem to find that first pick. Oh, they're still going to try.
Love that from Xander, though. The placement of the poison orb lets him move through the Omen smoke into his own and come from an unexpected angle. Fortunately, it was Gucci that got the drop in him this time around. And we have Tree smoked out here, and nasty to see Nitro just jiggle that corner ever so slightly. Gucci again is good for it. Nitro, though, finding 2 of those sheriff kills. That's definitely a cause for concern now. Another shoulder peek, but he's stuck in that corner. It doesn't matter. Nitro gets the better of him. Make it 4. And now it's all up to Infiltrator. Showstopper's got to secure 1 kill, but this next one might be the hardest. He'll find it. They may get awful close there.
He closes it out with a Zippo clutch. And not only that, honestly, the team probably screaming in their ears because that was close. Nitro almost closed it out for the side of M80, bringing them closer to that match point, which shouldn't happen. Huge punishments there, especially for this team of Winthrop University. But again, all it takes is just some sort of resolve. Wow, I don't even know how they were able to continue to run away with shots like these, but regardless, a showstopper that really did save the day from Infiltrator.
Yeah, it was nicely done. He has to pull that to sort of save the round, and I don't blame him. Very clever to realize that that has to be done in order to secure this streak a bit further for Winthrop. But now guns are back in the hands of M80. No counter one way here, so some degree of mound control given over. Jerk and Infiltrator are playing the long game.
No, and they take a run up, though, tethered down. Can't seem to move. I'm surprised nobody actually tried to fight this, though, especially with Paranoia still on lockdown. They know they had somebody there. Now the lockdown really taking place, but terrible position to put it in.
Yeah, honestly, I thought the Omen spot was pretty bad. Like, I've never felt comfortable playing from there, but the one upside is that it gives you the angle on that lockdown you otherwise just wouldn't have. All right, let's try B. Some of this util from Xander going to slow things down. He actually finds the snake bite kill. That's massive. BCJ, though, of course, caught in the nightfall. But M80 determined to fight for this. We might see attention now head back to the seaside instead. Nismo tries to throw a satchel down. Jerk challenges. Nismo comes out on top, but only just. Koala Noob, though, able to chime in here from the site itself. And he'll stay inside this.
30 seconds left.
He does not care about the seas. And it's up to Gucci Mane to get the job done. But Viper's Pit and the Spike, not a whole lot to work with now. And Nitro, ever dependable. He is every step made towards this B site. And he'll be happy to play the long game himself.
They're actually hoping, man, they were hoping that they could just try to get a 3K here in that last couple seconds. Even then, or maybe just try to take a couple players down before the time did run out. But that's not the way things work. 11-7, close to that match point. This might be the last round. They need but 2 Viper Spits on the board. That could change the game. Winthrop definitely taking the time out to discuss how they're going to utilize the util here. And honestly, they're kind of in a weird position where not everyone can buy. So definitely taking that into account as well.
Yeah, they've got to strategize a little bit for this next round.
Yeah.
It's an important one. It's a real inflection point. Buffer has basically been entirely exhausted in terms of those rounds. And one thing you'll notice about M80, right, is they really try and deny the game from advancing to a post-plant stage. They will push up in C-Long, try and take mount control. They'll triple stack by the door of C-Long. On A, they have to play the post plant because it's just a Viper really holding it fairly passively. Xander isn't trying to run roughshod over Winthrop here at all. But a lot of the time, Winthrop are being funneled towards that B site. They bounce between B and C more than once in that previous round.
Yeah.
And eventually had to commit to a side where they didn't quite know the status of the defenders.
Careful.
This is it. I mean, honestly, pretty big mental game for Winthrop because we talked about it just a bit, economy-wise. Like, they lose this one, they don't get another chance. They have to force for the next round, and they're not even going to have enough to do anything about it. So definitely needing this round to give themselves an advantage to possibly take things back, though already a Lear coming down through B and not a lot of information despite the wall being set up and possibly some footsteps there.
I'm getting deja vu. Xana did this last time as well. Throw the snake bite down as you cross the wall. A vulnerability plus the damage to the molly is
Wow.
deadly. Nismo finally comes alive. He's had quite a game, but that's a big one. Taking Infiltrator out of the pack immediately. And now, without a duelist, Winthrop have to make it happen. Jerk gets the better of Koala Noob here, though, on that A side, and he is wasting no time in getting straight up the map.
Oh, and this is huge. They know they created a big distraction over towards C. Lack of duelists, no worries. Let's move ourselves over towards A. And then we don't have to worry too much from then on. Jerk still finding another one, though, trying to make a distraction with the Lear alone, but it doesn't do much. It's the 3K from Jerk that keeps this team alive, and quite possibly for even longer. Gucci still down towards back, and waiting for the footsteps to be heard. Nismo not doing too much there, especially with the wide swing. And they didn't even wait for the team. It would have been so perfect if he could have played with Nitro there.
Nismo forced into a 1v1. Nitro makes some sound there. The 3 stack into tree is hard to defeat. At least removing some of that Killjoy util. Alarm bot, of course, will be roused from its slumber, and Nitro decides that in this case, discretion may well be the better part of valor. Hold on to the gun. Let this one go.
Huge win. Honestly, game-changing, if anything. And another possibility to just keep things going. Gucci still has that Viper's Pit. So, I mean, despite the showstopper that really did start things coming through from Nismo, there still is a huge chance to take another round in and quite possibly just demolish the economy of M80, because that's been the biggest issue. They hadn't really faced any issues other than a possible stinger or a bulldog by here and there.
There's like at least 2 situations that last round where M80 can double swing some of those corners. You see BCJ get brought down in that one, and then Nismo towards the end of the round. Maybe if they're able to actually get set up for those swings, that round looks entirely different. Xana says, not here, please. I would like to rest this round. Thank you.
There's so much space that they just don't know about. Yeah, already Spraith Goose coming down. Xander gets tagged just a bit, but with 70 health, I mean, not going to be too much of an issue. Anybody that peeks through there is going to have a pretty hard time having an understanding as to where Xander might be with the sound cues. But regardless of that, again, there comes Infiltrator taking this down, and that's a huge rotation back towards C.
Good guess. If anything, the paint shells just tucked in that corner. The lineup is very, very good, and that's the Viper's Pit gone. Xander had no choice, it seemed, but to play close there. But I'm pretty sure he had a bulldog as well. Opted just to have the shorty out, of course, for that stopping power, but it ends up putting him in a dangerous spot. Easy access to the side by Infiltrator here. Straight over the boom gate with a double satchel. The BCJ's found moves. There's actually a bit of a pinch coming in here from Waterfall, but Nitro fighting Infiltrator now. This is scary. An attacking Viper's Pit deployed. Koala Noob now with the paranoia, and in they dive. They don't care if the water's murky. Geronimo, say M80. Koala Noob takes the fight to Jerk here. Obviously decayed all the way down. Gucci theoretically in a pretty strong spot. BCJ skirting around the outside of the pit, and he's able to find Nasi. The one, though, that brought the pit into this world is Gucci, and he has not left it.
Wow.
Not for a second. And a Zippo clutch comes up as Winthrop stay in the game.
The strategies have been immaculate. They've stepped up their game 100%. And honestly, they have been way way more patient and way less aggressive, which is interesting because they're so used to that certain specific type of playstyle. And this is what I love. The beauty of this round is the fact that they waited. They understood this is not something we can push or take advantage of. So let's find a better way to do so. And honestly, it was such a lucky shot with Infiltrator taking that Pain Shell, taking out the Viper Spit, and just allowing themselves down towards C. But already getting prepped up, so many players pushing themselves down towards the outskirts as it is a save round for M80.
You see, the clearing protocols from Winthrop were so much better here than they were on Sunset.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't even like a lucky guess, right? I mean, Infiltrator heard the shorty get fired off and knows that, you know, Xander's probably playing close. But because they used the, you know, the boom bot to find that out, to force the shot from him. It's looking way cleaner in general from Winthrop. This isn't even the map that they chose, for Christ's sake. Into tree we go. Xander again with the util to slow things up. No one follows that Prowler in, and my goodness, a fair bit of damage already done to Winthrop now. Looking haggard as they approach this B site to set up.
Poison's off.
Oh, but here might be a slight element of surprise comes in because they don't know anybody here. That could possibly be contesting this area, maybe. I mean, now they've at least tried to figure it out, and the sprays coming through from Nasi with a single alone. You pretty much cover that whole entire area, which is good. Winthrop University on a roll, down in the anti-eco round. It's not looking any better for the side of M80, especially with the 10-11. And the match point, they're so close to that match point. They can taste it, but they just can't seem to lock it down.
Winthrop here, though, nipping at their heels every step of the way. Jerk's been incredible. Some really crucial multi-frag scenarios.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to holding down these sites in the post plant. That's a round that maybe M80 expect to go by the wayside. That's fine. They don't really have much to bring into it in terms of weaponry. I'm looking at Nismo here. It's definitely been a quieter game for him. Whereas Infiltrator is someone we talked about that had to provide that early action, at the very least get his. He's been able to do that and some. This is an upstart Winthrop team that have showed us this same level of comeback on this map before. They're very good on Lotus. It may have to show us now why they are the best in this group.
This could also be, you know, another example of, again, the stress really just starting to get to you. Pretty distressed faces on the side of M80. They know they could do better, but it's one of those things where you start to really overthink every single piece of movement, and they had so many times where they really could have avoided what was happening to them. Unfortunately, Xander was in such an uncomfortable position down when that Viper's pit happened. I feel like there was a moment there where they could have ran away with that round, but they just continued to keep themselves in the same locations. They refused to relocate, maybe give themselves better positioning. But M80 definitely learning from their lessons and mistakes here. Viper wall set down on choke for Xander, just to keep some sort of reassurance there for Nitro.
Again, we'll see that aggressive play behind the one way. At what point does Kuala Noob opt to back up here? They've got C-Long locked down. Now get the pull rotate over towards B. That's Xander joining up with Nitro there at A-Heaven. Infiltrator making a heck of a lot of a racket. As Winthrop, again, trying to keep M80 interested, but they might have eyes once more for that C site. I can see the pings.
Oh, this might be huge. If they can find anyone within it, but no, they've chosen to actually clear out and angle that. Hasn't even been too much of a distraction recently within the last previous rounds, but a blind shot coming through from Infiltrator just to avoid having anybody take them out on the entry there. Kind of smart, but also a waste of an ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same pop we've seen a couple times from Winthrop, right? Nasi comes out of door. They kind of catch Kuala Noob if he's playing too far up over towards that mound. Oh, BCJ, that's rough. Nismo doesn't have an opportunity to trade there. Lockdown is down, and Nismo's about to get very busy here. Spacing with the satchel, but still will have to face down two. Good for one. Spike goes loose, and now he knows where Winthrop are heading. Gucci gets his way towards B here, and M80 are not in the vicinity.
No, but they will be. Dissipation of smoke definitely coming through pretty quickly. Infiltrator knows. And it's not even about that. They are confident that they might just be able to get one, which they do. Winthrop, not much of a player advantage, but still there. That one person might make the difference. And if the difference is made, they might just be able to take that 11-11, but it's up to Xander to make sure nothing happens. Then again, waiting down just on Spike.
Stealing side. I need to be a big clutch moment here. M80 constantly getting caught off guard by this Winthrop team. And now Xander on a 1v3. How good are you, Xander? Ooh. Well, good, but not good enough, apparently. We are even now, and M80 blow through much of their economy in that round. Don't even think about overtime for the time being. Winthrop might have what it takes to take this entirely.
He turned too soon. He turned way too soon. Oh my goodness. And they would have run away with that pick. They could have taken the 1v1. They could have possibly had the chance to really bring it back. But it's unfortunate things like this that happen where you really can't have it happen. They're just turning back a bit too quickly. Being the game changer for M80, leading to that 11-11. And now having to force for this round and possibly the next under the circumstance that it doesn't work out. Jerk already trying to close off that choke point on Xander as well.
M80 trying to deny Nasi that angle to sort of burst onto Mound from door. Winthrop, though, not playing nearly as aggressive towards that part of the map this time around. There's a lot of KJ util over here at A, but a lot will fall on Nitro's shoulders in the coming moments.
Yeah, they pushed back.
Retreat.
Yeah, moving themselves forward, though. This is beautiful. Infiltrator possibly finding, I mean, what they might need to continue their stride up to that match point. And it's a beautiful shot, really, to start off with, and a big rotation and a possible lurk coming through from Jerk as well.
Wow, Winthrop are the better team right now. They have been for, honestly, most of this map. There's an I-4 coming from both sides. Moves set up on by the Prowler. Oh, Kwanu somehow gets away with that. The invulnerability frame saved him. It ends up being a trade.
One enemy remaining.
But has already commenced here, so Nismo has to bail his team out of this now. Can M80 hold up
Enemy remaining.
in the heat? Paint shell now thrown out by Nismo. This will create enough space. Potentially half it, but Nismo gets there. God, that was such an important round. And M80 finally stemmed the tide. Winthrop dumping on them round after round. Finally, they get a chance to come up for breath.
Keep it going.
A Zippo clutch and Nismo
Match point.
putting their entire investment. It literally, this was all just based off of Nismo. Could they collect the picks? Could they continue
Enemy remaining.
to honestly just keep the rounds going? And I guess so. M80 definitely putting all their reliance on him in this round. Can't keep happening though. They need to find a way to try to avoid these first engagements being given away to Winthrop. And again, they're doing such a better job at isolating these fights. But then what can we do to counter that? The one way continuously coming through to make things a lot harder for us to, you know, really get that push in from Winthrop, but they always decide to find a way. Are they trying to create that space from Infiltrator? The C site left alone from Xander. And the only thing really there is Nitro's util, maybe Nitro as well.
And Xander's on a judge. M80, it was a very costly round to get them in this position in the first place. So they need to take an unlikely victory here to at least get to a overtime where money is not so much a factor.
Yeah. Now they're taking their time. And M80, they haven't tried to feed into having any information, really. I mean, maybe down towards the A site, they at least know nobody's pushed up 54 seconds in, so they should know by now. And they're pushing down towards C, especially with Xander taking in their first shot.
Oh, he got a gun! Xander's been upgraded to a Vandal now, and all of the attention going towards B, but it's been slowed up. Oh, the showstopper wasn't even needed in the end. This looks like M80,
C.
after taking a scary close number of licks and almost being sent to overtime. And we're going to take the game away now. Nasty can only feign interest
Wow.
and hanging on.
Win.
And as any flawless caps off the match, as M80 take the series 2-0.
2-0. Coming across the board, but a well-deserved win coming through from M80. And yeah, it took a lot of a struggle, but I guess that says more for Winthrop than it does this team. Winthrop University definitely pushing everything they had out into this game. And honestly, at the beginning, it was getting a bit scary, especially with the momentum that we had seen was being pushed through. But Winthrop University, they kind of took things back. M80, though, down with the victory and a well-deserved one as well.
Again, it's frustrating for Winthrop because they were the better team for most of this map.
Yeah.
Really just came down to some of those crucial rounds. Then Nismo clutch after he was only really able to find 8 or so frags for most of the game, and a lot of those first kill scenarios he's losing out in. You know, conversely, Infiltrators having a huge game, which is exactly what we said we would need to see from him to put Winthrop in striking distance of this juggernaut roster. I mean, there's a fantastic, you know, the clutch here from Infiltrator is really important. There's a great double satchel onto that site. I think in like round 22, they just flattened Nitro and really opened the way for this team. Jerk is doing fantastically. A lot of multi-kill scenarios. It just feels like this team, all of a sudden, they're clearing the map beautifully. Like they are not taking undue risks. You know, they're getting information. And they're also, when they don't have it, they're making some great intuitive decisions here. So a really competitive game. And Winthrop, I think, have a lot of positives to take away from this one. Unfortunately, the first map is one they'd sooner forget. And this Lotus map probably isn't enough to make them.
Yeah. Sierra, I know you're here. You're
I'm here.
Silently sitting behind there. I mean, how honestly, Sierra, I want to hear what you thought of the game.
I want to know where that was on Sunset to be kicking this off.
Yeah.
This was a completely different Winthrop University, and this is a Winthrop University that I'm excited about. I know in the end it was an M80 win, but honestly, you have to look at that score line and recognize the win that this is against a team that is definitely the next one to ascend in a lot of people's eyes. I think offhand, looking at the fact that there is 18 first kills on the side of Winthrop, and yet only 11 round wins, I would maybe dive into that a little bit deeper after they kind of decompress after this a little bit. But honestly, this was a lot closer than anyone would have expected.
That is crazy. First kills in 18 of 24 rounds. Pretty nuts,
Yep.
right? And that's what a Duelist who is on can give you, right? This is what we were hoping to see from Infiltrator. I'm sort of harping on a little bit here. But again, really strong showing from Winthrop. But we need to circle back around to this M80 situation because remember, they get out to like, what, a 6-round lead to start the game, right? Obviously, winning both pistols is a big deal. That really gives them a lot of buffer to work with. I sort of said, look, expect to see Xander do a lot of work here on these lurks. He sort of didn't. Like, he played very restrained, very disciplined, I think, especially on that A side of the map here. But I think like seeing that Odin play from Winthrop come into Tree, I really liked how there was sort of moves was playing off that, or quite often I think it was, even Jerk sat in there. Great showing here from Winthrop. M80, they get away luckily here with a very strong first map, and I think that's probably should be brought back into the story a bit more. As much as we can get excited about Winthrop, your map getting only one round it's not going to be enough here in Challengers.
Yeah, I feel like it was a little bit of waking up still over there because we got to see that, of course, they can do a lot better. This was a very, very tight scoreline for a team that is undefeated so far in Challengers. But hey, hopefully they can take that loss. They can look at how close this was on something that wasn't their map pick and just kind of go forward from there, Gompers. And even too, we didn't ever talked about Jerk. I just want to be able to give that shout out as well because I feel like when Winthrop did get that 6 rounds kind of pieced together, that Jerk was a good part of that.
No, they absolutely were. I think, especially for the majority of, it was pretty fair share. I would say I have to, for some reason I'm brain farting, I would say I have to give a majority of the credit. You know what? I'm about to just walk out. I never stuttered in my life. But anyways, yeah, Jerk honestly did an amazing job. I think for a fact, some of the things that really did have me confused were the lockdown placements. I think it was just unfortunate positioning, especially with the way that we did get to see, obviously, the side of M80 plays. Listen, leave me alone.
I think it is.
She's so careful.
The standard. I think it is the standard A, like the standard C site lockdown placement, but like you just, that box spot is so one and done. You don't expect the player to be sat up there. Maybe it's like not enough in the corner. I'm not really sure, but because he did it again, obviously later on, I think a few rounds after, and ends up placing it there, and it's fine because no one was in that frankly suicidal spot to try and contest with.
All right. Well, at this point, I want to give proper credit to both of you for on the fantastic job here. But I'll let y'all have a little bit of a break as we get our interview set up. Enjoy our post-series highlights. We're going to be right back with the interview with M80.
Oh, savage, man. Come on.
Evil eye. One enemy remaining. This is ready. One enemy remaining. 30 seconds left. One.
Shut down.
One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. 30 seconds left. There you are. Slow mo. One enemy remaining.
Kill confirmed. Ready.
One enemy remaining.
Camera taken.
One enemy remaining. Flawless. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Flawless. One enemy. Earth one. Flawless. One enemy remaining.
Good. My ultimate is ready. Got 3.
One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
Blow you up. Done. Got 3.
One enemy remaining.
Satchel out.
One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
Grenade. Like you could stop. Oh, ready.
They say in life, there are no guarantees. They say a lot of stuff like that. Slow it down. Play it safe. Hedge your bets. So what? You gonna listen to that? You gonna stop because they can't guarantee you'll pull this off? No guarantee you'll win? No guarantee everything's gonna be fine? In life, you make your own guarantees. Nobody else will light your way. Start your own fire and keep it burning. And we guarantee you'll have one hell of a lifetime.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm here with Nismo. 2-0 victory there. Undefeated so far in Challengers. How are you feeling about the run so far?
Feeling really good. Obviously, that's kind of what we were expecting. We have high expectations. So starting off undefeated is kind of what we were looking forward to. So yeah, feeling good.
I'm glad to hear. And I'm going to start at the end of that second map there. That 11-11 scoreline, that 1v2 clutch that you were in. It started honestly looking like Winthrop might be able to push it to an overtime, but you managed to get to match points after that clutch. Honestly, with how that match was going, what would you have been a little bit worried had it gone to overtime?
We weren't really worried. We know that we were just losing because of our mistakes. We knew exactly what we were doing. We just weren't in the right spots at the right time. Obviously, they had a good match, you know. They kind of started snowballing, so it was just a bit harder for us. But we had everything under control. We just needed to win the rounds that we knew we should have won, and it just made the game harder on us when we lost those rounds early, but it happens. That's Valorant.
It is just Valorant, so good to be able to recognize where the mistakes were. So you said one of the mistakes just not being necessarily where you needed to be. Anything else that kind of like pokes your brain a little bit that maybe was a little bit of a struggle on that map?
Not really. Again, just really individual mistakes that we were making as a team. You know, it's things that we're going to learn. We look at it again, and they won't happen. So it's a good thing that it happened, in my opinion. It makes us just learn. So instead of losing, we lose a couple rounds, but then we have more rounds to look at, and we learn more. So, yeah.
It's all about how you learn. It's all how you pick yourselves back up. And
Yep.
We definitely got to see M80 in form to be kicking off the series on Sunset. We actually have never gotten to see it really from you guys before. Was it something that was kind of hidden from us before because it wasn't comfortable, or it just never really came up until now?
I mean, it never really came up. We were kind of playing the same maps over and over again, so whoever was going to pick it was about to have a surprise, and unfortunately, Red Drop did the mistake, so...
Fortunately, they're the one that walked into the trap there, but everyone's got to know, M80, you can't catch them slacking. Since you are undefeated in the group, technically the best in the group right now, but next week you go up against the second best in the group in Turtle Troop, definitely a super strong squad. Do you think this is going to be the challenge, the team that takes you to the 3 maps, or how are you feeling about this upcoming series?
I mean, we're just going to play this match just like any other team. For us, Turtle Troop is just the same thing as all the other teams, and we're basically just going to come in, play our game, and not overthink it. They obviously got a good squad. Everyone has a good squad, to be honest with you. A lot of people can be talking about challengers, saying these teams are not good, etc. But everyone can win games in this league right now. So we're just going to come in, play our game, and show up.
And just stick to what M80 does. I love it. Congratulations, Nismo, again on the win. Have yourself a good night. I'm going to let you go, okay?
Thank
you. As for us, definitely a fun series to start off the day. One final match for the week. It's going to be Core going up against Thinky Man after this break.